Hey all, I'm conducting a little experiment here with memory on the virtual machine. Just figure I would share it with you guys. So I have CityEngine open. No CityEngine scene is open yet, right? I've got my memory. It's hovering around that 4.2 gigs. CPU is chugging away, and my GPU is just below the 1 GB dedicated memory. I'm going to open the Philadelphia example, which has a fair number of textured buildings of decently high detail. So I'll go ahead and generate these 9,150 building models. And let's watch what happens to the memory. Okay, so we can see, right, RAM is cranking up, heading up to 5 to 6 gigs, right? As it does some management, it sort of bounces around 6. But so far, I'm not getting up into that 8 range. And if we look at the GPU, also staying pretty stable. I am taking a little bit of shared memory for graphics now as it generates. And then in the background, you notice the 3D buildings popping in as they get generated, textured buildings. But overall, these new machines, they seem to be hanging in there. Generation is a little bit slow. I think that's more of a CPU limitation than anything else. Because we're running right there close to 100% on the CPU. But the memory seems to be hanging in there, both graphics and RAM. So I'm just going to give it a sec to finish generating, and we'll see how it does overall with this more complex scene. Okay, so memory looks pretty good, 5.7. We haven't capped out for RAM. The GPU also looks pretty good. The generation time there, we started generating at about 2 minutes. We are now about 5 minutes in, so 3 minutes. So the CPU seemed to be the primary limit to generation speed. Let's go ahead and navigate around and see how this scene performs. Is it very? Yeah, it's actually not too clunky at all. Even though it's got a lot of geometry in here, a lot of textured buildings. It's still navigating. There's a little bit of delay, but there's also a little bit of delay on these virtual machines. But that's sort of what my concern was when I was saying don't generate. If you wind up with one of these scenes that's terribly slow, you can speed it up by getting rid of some of the generated models that are there more for aesthetics and that you don't need. And that should improve performance there. So selecting a bunch of features. Oh, one thing I should point out here. When you're trying to select something, anything that's locked here on the right side, if you see this little lock in the layer, you can't select those items. So you have to unlock them to select them. Otherwise, they'll be ignored when you draw your selection box. So now I've unlocked all those, selected them. They're highlighted in the little blue lines. And I go to shape, delete models, and they've disappeared. And now my screen, notice, pans smoother and faster, and I don't have quite as much lag because I've reduced the total number of features I'm drawing in the scene.